Hey folks, welcome, fellow Silveteers, Final Fantasy seekers. Hope you guys are having a great night. This has been a long day. Whew. I was up late last night. Alright. Supposed to be first day of working on music, but that has not really been off to a very good start because my mother-in-law is still in the hospital. She had open heart surgery over a week ago, and her condition's actually deteriorating. So we're very worried about that. Prayers are appreciated, but I don't think she's dying yet. But it's been pretty serious. So that has taken a lot of time to deal with for the family, and that stuff happens. And that's one of the things that you kind of have to be okay with if you want to be productive in general, is knowing that sometimes there's other priorities in life besides sitting down at the word processor or whatever it's going to be. And you just have to roll with that, Last night was actually, I'll share this anecdote with you. Whoops, that's the wrong cable. Last night my wife gets a call, so I'm cleaning up this office, trying to get everything squared away to do some music here. And that means for me, picking up stuff. I got my keyboard hooked back up here so I can just work a little. I had it unhooked because I had a bunch of stuff. I was showing silver and whatever else. So that's hooked back up. I hear the baby crying. I'm like, oh, the baby woke up. She wakes up sometimes. So I go and see, and my wife's just hysterical because they called my wife, the hospital did. Now, my mother-in-law, who might be dying, we can't go see her because we might bring in the virus, the dreaded virus. Now, keep in mind, I already had it, so I can't transmit it to other. I'm the safest person. I'm the safest person to be around because my immune system, which is already primed with antibodies, is just killing off any virus that gets in my body. So I'm the safest person that you could possibly be around. But we can't go in and see her because we might track in some kind of virus. And now she actually is in an extremely vulnerable position. So I understand that to an extent. But that's how it is. Anyway, we get this call. The nurse puts my mother-in-law on the line. My wife is sleeping, right? It's 12:30 at night, right? I'm finishing this stuff up. I'm going to be ready to go tomorrow. I'm getting ready. I wanted to get ready for bed. Of course, I ended up staying up with my wife after this, but they call her and they put my mother-in-law on the phone, and she's completely delirious and she's screaming, "They're trying to drug me and they're trying to kill me." These things are, it's just a horrifying thing to hear your mother on the phone and hysterical screaming, they're having to restrain her. She doesn't know where she is or what's going on. It's this, it's something out of some kind of horror movie, some kind of asylum movie, So that's what my wife gets to wake up to at almost 1 a.m. is that screaming. Later, so anyway, I stay up with her for a while, and we get a little bit back. It's she's delirious. She doesn't know where she is. Her blood pressure's been all over the place. This morning, it's we are going to put her on dialysis because we think she's experiencing renal failure. So I don't know where this came from, but yeah, she's from, I don't know, the trauma of the surgery. and the drugs they put her on to try to flush the fluid out, because you get, after heart surgery, you'll get a buildup of fluid around the heart that could kill you, right? That's why they actually put these big drains in your chest. If you've never seen anyone who's had heart surgery, like bypass surgery or anything like that, any kind of rib splitter, they put these big drains in your chest because your body will respond to that with it by inflaming it and putting fluid around it. So you got to drain that fluid out. It's really gross. So they had her on drugs to try to flush this fluid out, but her blood pressure is too low, so there's all these problems with that. So she's on a ventilator now, like a forced ventilator, and is like intubated and sedated. So that's really bad, by the way. That's not good. So a week after surgery, you're supposed to be getting better, not worse. But like we're heading into kidney failure territory, and you can't really respond to her. She was completely delirious and out of it. Delirium, like post-surgery delirium, is not really a good thing. And in this case, it's gone to like a full intubation here. So that's what's up with her. That's what we've been dealing with today. Meanwhile, my father-in-law wanted to come home from where he was staying during this time in Pacific Grove, and he has other issues that I don't need to get into, but suffice to say, it complicates the whole matter trying to deal with him and my mother-in-law. So that's what's going on there. And so I don't know what's going to happen. And you know, if plans get interrupted, plans get interrupted. I do things to the best of my ability, according to what time and what energy is available to me to do them. And you can't really ask more than that of people. So if you're ever a person that gets discouraged because like a bunch of shit is going on in your life and you can't get something done, yeah, that's normal and that's okay. That happens. Now, the difference between like the pro and the amateur with that is that the amateur lets that completely dissolve his self-confidence and his ability to work and his ability to like reestablish his work routines. Think about all the celebrities who couldn't work for 4 years because the Orange Man bad as a president, right? They were so traumatized by someone they didn't like being president that they just stopped working. You don't want to be that person. No one needs to be that person. But yeah, it's okay if you can't physically work for a while because, you know, somebody's very ill or somebody dies or you are very ill or something like along those lines is happening. I plan to not work after my wife had our daughter. That's normal and appropriate. So if you're ever feeling bad, because I say this because this is kind of me, right? If I'm not working every single day, if I'm not pounding away and doing something and accomplishing something, that tends to affect my self-esteem a little bit. So if you're like me and you're very type A in that way, just remember that it's okay to have those little interruptions. It's okay to not hit the gym if you have the flu, guys. You know, that's normal. Take that time to rest up and work on your own thing. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. You know, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that, guys. So anyway, that's what's going on. Let's play some games and just hang out and have a little bit of fun. But I thought I'd prime you on what's up with that, and just a little bit of how serious things could be. And it's also, you know, it's something that I remember that it's good to have, like, people are like, we shouldn't have escapes. It's like, no, normal, appropriate life still, it's good to have escapes. You don't have to have every moment of your life be completely free of escape. Where it becomes dangerous is if you are avoiding the things that you are supposed to do in order to escape. You know, and that's where the line is drawn, right? If you're like escaping to World of Warcraft when you should be working on your finances, when you should be working a job, when you should be going to class, that's bad. Spending your free time doing something fun, that's good. It's not a bad thing for you. What do you think of GameStop? The stock or the company? If we're talking about GameStop stock again, I think most of the shorts have been covered at this point. So, honestly, I think the time to kind of sell your stock if you had it is probably today. Or we kind of knew that's how. all things come to an end. People that were projecting somehow everybody would hold on to their stocks. You can't expect everybody to hold the line forever. And in fact, the higher the price goes, this is a natural market mechanism. Oops. We don't want a new game. We want to load our... There we go. Man, I love the aesthetics of this game. Okay, I think we're going to fight a guy. The higher the price goes, the more likely somebody is to bolt. It's kind of like a rout in a battle. So morale in old pre-modern battles was extremely important. The way that you captured, or the way that you attained victory was basically by demoralizing your opponent more than just slaughtering them, unless you were just completely ruthless, or they were like the Chimeri that the Romans fought, that like the women would kill them if they fled the battlefield. You're trying to demoralize them, because what happens is everybody's fighting, and then somebody's like, we're gonna die, and so they turn to go, and you see the person on your left is turning to go, and you're like, that reduces your chance of survival, and before you know it, the whole line begins to fold, and then the rout begins. So you're trying to force a rout. That's how you're gonna win. That's how you're gonna win the battle, is by forcing enough routes across lines, or through different maniples or different layers of your army on the battlefield, to get the army to retreat enough that they are demoralized, they don't think they can win, and they surrender to, fight another day, or to go home to their families, and you get terms of surrender, in terms of, you treat after the battle. So this is the same thing with stocks, is that if one person starts to sell, like in this case, a bunch of people were able to coordinate to raise the price, but as the price goes higher, it's more and more tempting for every person to go. And once the route starts, once the run to the line to sell to the people who are eating it on the short sell, once that begins, it's a stampede. It's the stampede effect. You can't resist the stampede. You just need to go with it. Okay, I've done the videos on the stampede. Once the whole crowd is going, look at this guy. He's like wearing like a little green loincloth and stuff. Once the stampede begins, you probably just need to go with it. If you're looking for something else to put your money into, I like physical silver. It's not financial advice. Physical silver is great. Why? Because it looks cool. It's shiny. You can use it in an emergency. It's universal currency throughout mankind's entire history. Jesus himself was sold for 30 shekels of silver, which is not that much, but it's something, and it was a sum of money back during the time. Point is that it's been currency forever and always will be currency. So even if the price is volatile, you can just hold it, and you're going to get your money out of it, basically. So silver's a really good stock, and you can buy a bunch of it for very cheap. Brian, I do appreciate those prayers, and yes, whatever intercessions, these are good things to think about. I don't know. I'm not going to go too deep into it there, but yeah, the stock. So anyway, the price moved mostly because institutional investors covered their shorts. The price keeps moving most in off hours. Yeah, I mean, now would be the time to probably cut your losses and go before. Some people are already losing their ass on it because they bought when it was high, trying to buy into hype. You don't want to buy into hype. You want to buy if something's volatile like Bitcoin. Like, I wouldn't just get into Bitcoin right now. That seems like a terrible idea. You wanted time to get into Bitcoin. Bitcoin was like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe, long time ago. And now's the time to think about selling Bitcoin. I did predict that they would probably outlaw Bitcoin or maybe all cryptocurrency. I still think that's coming down the line. India is moving to do that, and that's something that we're going to have. All right, let's play the game. Rebels, here? Where are my soldiers? No, it can't be. It was all a trick. Ooh, he roars. Cool. Ooh, look at that sprite. Let's see what we can do here. By the way, Brian, I did test the magic here. And in this version of the game, targeting does not count as a cast for level up. You have to attempt the spell. Now, if the spell doesn't land, it still levels you up, but you have to actually cast the spell. I tested it out. Unfortunately, that's the case for this one. Let's see here. I have anything that will have any good debuffs for this guy. I don't think I do, but she has a really good attack. So we'll just attack. Let's do protect. Because I have a good protect. And we'll do blink. So we'll buff. Aura. I don't really know what Aura does, but I think it like improves your chance to hit. Just like generally improves everything. Let's hit him a couple times. Let's see. She's not doing a lot of damage. Maybe we'll do Berserk too. See if that helps. Berserk. There we go. We're hitting hard now. Square Enix fixing it till it's broke. That's it. Anything else here? Let's actually do. We'll heal everybody up here real quick. Give everybody some health. He like can't hit us at all. He like can't hit my guys at all. Oh, he's already dead. That wasn't hard. I was expecting a little more epic boss fight than that. You've defeated the enemy commander. Sweet. The shorts aren't over. Today was another ladder attack. The media also lied about silver to try to get people to buy silver stocks instead and line the pockets of the money changers in the process. Now, you don't want to buy silver stocks. You only want to buy physical. Never buy paper that represents you're buying a deposit. You don't want to do that. You want the physical silver, especially silver. I mean, any of it. You want the physical product. It's so good to finally be back. Because there's no point in holding a silver stock certificate. What the hell are you going to do with that? You go ask nicely for your silver when crap collapses? No. They're not going to give it to you. You want physical silver only, in my opinion. This would never have been possible had we not worked together. I thank you all. Is society finally collapsing? No, I don't think so. What do you think? Is the Boog less or more than 5 years away? More. But Aura grants bonus damage with certain monster types, which types depends on the spell's level. Okay. Yeah, don't believe the Wall Street Bets people that are like trying to say that you shouldn't buy silver. Buying silver is probably a good thing to do. If they're shorting the hell out of silver, you can hold silver for the long term. I don't really hold silver to try to turn it around and for a profit unless like I need to sell it for money, in which case it's going to hold its value over time really well. But rather to collect it for the future. It's so good to finally be back. But one thing still troubles me. Minwu left for Mysidia, but we've not heard from him since. It pains me to ask this of you so soon after winning back our castle. Would you go to Mysidia? We learned from Mysidia. Ask Mysidia. Mysidia is a land of mages. Without the aid of their magic, defeating the Emperor will not be easy. I've heard that a spell, sometimes referred to as the ultimate magic, lies in the Mysidian Tower. Obtaining it requires 2 masks. The white mask rests beneath this very castle. You must speak an incantation to open the door that leads below. The words Ekmet Teloes have been passed down from antiquity. Forgive me, I'm afraid I don't know the door's location. She looks sad. Buying a stock of silver is the dumbest thing ever. They're not shorting silver, but yeah, physical silver is a good thing to buy just in general. Why not gold? Gold is really expensive. Yeah, so gold at like whatever it is, like $800 an ounce. It's just too expensive for most people to get into unless you just have a lot of liquid currency sitting around, or you just really want a couple of ounces of gold. The other problem with gold, gold historically was not used as money. Although we think of the gold standard because that was a recent monetary standard. All that means is that you could exchange your dollars for gold and gold for dollars with a mint. doesn't mean what people really think. We haven't had like a thoroughly automatic gold standard probably ever. But traditionally, silver is the money that you spend because it's less valuable, but it's valuable enough, and you can tell if it's real silver. It has all the things that make it good money. You know, it's very divisible. It's very fungible. It's easy to detect if it's fake. Same thing with gold, but gold is simply too valuable. Gold is the money that was used in the past for big transactions. You know, if you had to pay an enemy army to go away, you'd give them gold. You wouldn't give them silver because you could, or unless you had silver, you might give them silver too, but gold is for like big transfers. We can never have retaken Castle Finn without your help, but there's one problem. Minwu still hasn't come back. Would you go to Miss City to find out what's happened to him? Ultimate Tome. Text containing Ultimate Tome. I'm certain it would prove invaluable in the struggle against the Emperor. No one knows the castle better than Hilda. She doesn't know. Paul just might. He's always calling himself the greatest crook in the world, after all. Mask. Mysidia. Doesn't know anything else. Alright. Looking for a silverware set to buy. Might as well use it instead of storing silver in a shoebox somewhere. Gold does have some industrial uses, but not as much as silver. But there's also less gold. Chaosium finally released the game engine behind Call of Cthulhu as open source. That's interesting. Alright. Bless your family. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. I appreciate any prayers. We've been praying a lot. And my mother-in-law is very devout Christian. So I'm not worried too much about the state of her soul. But, you know, I'm worried. I want my kids to have their Oma. Alright, let's look around and see if we can find a way down. It might be that mirror, you know. I've seen some like passages I can't get to here. And if we don't know, Paul might tell us. So yeah, the point of having like say silver bullion, silver coins around is really that you can use those as money if you need to. Gold, it's a little harder. Like if you give someone an ounce of gold, what are they going to tell you? I mean, like, what are you going to get with it? It's like, you know, a very nice guitar for 1 gold coin. That's how valuable gold is at this point. We will never rest until peace has been restored to the world. Part of that is things are really cheap. And they're cheap because our economy is very efficient at producing things right now. You know, here's a chest over here. I don't quite know how to get to that. But you have to get, like, somehow down below the castle. Maybe if we go into the village, there'll be, like, a secret passage into it. Now that we've retaken this. If you're going to buy silver, parse that out. Get a coin here, a bar there, and don't hold it for years. I hold it. Yeah, and hold it for years. I have a lot of it. You'll buy it from the mint in these big containers. It's usually a good way to buy it. It's rumored that a secret connected to the Mysidian Tower lies hidden beneath the castle. Yeah. We got these treasures. Thanks for answering my questions. Wanted to gauge what everyone stands on it. Yeah. Personally, I don't have a lot of faith in, like, Reddit in general. Reddit's full of midwits, and they're likely to sell each other out rather than, quote, hold the line to punish people. I feel like the run's good. You should probably take your money. If you've made money, I would take the money and run and put it in something else. Just keep it rolling with something else. Now, see, now we can explore the town. Thanks. You guys got the big boss, huh? Wow. Being able to live here again is like a dream come true. Finn is ours again at last. The standard of the Wild Rose flies high over Finn once more. Hooray! Have you been to Paul's house yet? He certainly seemed overjoyed to be back in his own home. It's no wonder, really. He probably had all sorts of stolen loot stashed there. Ooh. Let's see what we have to buy. Well, we already have all these, so we don't need them. I have a very small, thin, square chip of gold and some little bars of silver. The gold costs like 10 times as much, and this was over 5 years ago. Yeah. I think gold... Yeah, that's the problem with gold is you can't really divide it very well. Alex Jones, you old devil, how you been? If you need to know about secret doors in Castle Finn, I'm your man. I don't suppose you could tell me what's inside the secret chamber. Just curious. A white mask? Yeah, that doesn't sound particularly valuable. Nope, not interested, so I guess I'll tell you where the door is. Look in the far corner of the audience chamber to the right of the throne. So you're collectors, too? Just what do you need a mask like that for anyway? Alright. Okay, so you told us the secret. I have a very small amount of gold, like 1 gold coin and some other, like, very small bits from old US Mint stuff. Little $10 gold coins, which are, I'm trying to remember how much they are, like a quarter ounce or something. Yeah, they're worth a lot. My mom had hers, like, made into jewelry. So she had the gold coins just, like, put into a setting for, like, a necklace. Which is weird, but... Well, I don't have a gold cuirass, but it doesn't look all that good. Golden armor is better. Giant's helm, golden shield. To buy a lot of stuff here. Get plenty of it as we go. Reddit's like a broken clock. Yeah, that's right, twice a day. Reddit's full of midwits. That's why Reddit sucks. And midwits are like the most dangerous people to themselves. They don't... You know, they are smart enough to have a realm of expertise, but not smart enough to realize that their realm of expertise is just that. So they're always overstepping their bounds. Crosses and mallets. Looks like to have a little stock of these things. Okay, we're good. There's the pub. We can go back in the pub and check things out. See if anybody has anything else to say to us. There's a magic shop here. Somewhere. Oh, it's down there. Okay. Anyone have anything to say? Can we still go in the secret passage? We can. I don't think there's anything we can get here, though. Yeah, we already got all the treasure. Oh well. The other thing about Reddit is the way the board works, it really appeals to midwits. Like, you get karma for posting more rather than for being right. Like, it's not... 4chan's better in that sense. It's that everybody can speak freely on 4chan because they're anonymous. It's the only place where you're going to get, like, legitimate conversation. And I feel like... Dispel. We want one of those. Mini. Get one of those. Fog. Slow. Alright. I think we're running out of... Fog Tome. Inflicts amnesia. Alright, we're full on magic for him. Let's see what else we got here. Flare Tome. Actually, I need to unlearn some stuff because I want to give that to Alex Jones. Let's see what we got here. Slow tone. I wonder if I can... There's got to be one I don't really need. Like, I don't really need... Yeah, I don't really need curse. So let's get rid of curse. I don't know how to forget this. We'll see if we can teach it to him. See what happens. Might ask us to like get rid of one. Yeah, he can't learn it. I think you can forget the magic, but I don't know how to do it. Final Fantasy is pretty anime. If people were to create a microstate that was to protect the usage of cryptocurrencies and the transactions of them, do you think that that could work out for a while? I have no idea. The problem with... There's several problems with crypto, and I may make a separate... I may make like a separate video on this. The problem with crypto is really... first of all, it's digital. And because it's digital... Okay, I can discard. There we go. I'm going to discard. There's got to be one I just don't really need. I don't really need... See, he has curse, so we'll leave him with curse and we'll get rid of curse. Discard. Alright, then we have enough room to learn something else. Alright, I figured out how to do that. Still drawing for an assignment, yeah. Papa Raid? Papa... What is this? Final Fantasy is pretty anime, though 7 onwards leads a bit harder into that. I will have to admit. Oh yeah, I was talking about cryptocurrency. So the problem with cryptocurrency, first of all, is it's digital. And... while that seems like a benefit on one side, it's not really when you get down to it. And that's because if the lights are off, you can't use your crypto. If the internet's down, you can't really use your crypto. It also means it's trackable. I know people think that it's not trackable, but the FBI has caught people by tracking their usage of Bitcoin. So, like other financial transactions, it can be tracked. Whereas cash... not so much, or silver. And if the government wills it, it can just say that cryptocurrency is illegal. Or you can't accept cryptocurrency as a trade. You can't accept it in trade for anything. And then that's it. That's the end of cryptocurrency. Because if you can't use it for anything, you're not going to hold it. It's not going to be valuable because no one will accept it. To the right? Did he say it was to the right? Oh. Ask. A small gap appears in the wall. It's a secret door. Sweet. Let's see if there's monsters in here. In Pokemon, I think you have to go to a special character to unlearn stuff. People don't realize that, like, the state has currency by fiat. It says, because it says so. It's literally because we say so. You know? And so they can say so, hey, you can't pay your taxes in crypto, or it's illegal to hold crypto, you can sell it to us. But you can't hold crypto. And then if you're caught with it or you have a Coinbase account, you're going to get locked up. They just say it's illegal for merchants to accept it in transaction for anything. It's illegal for, you know. Let's try Flare here. You know, it's illegal to use it. It's illegal to accept it. Most merchants don't even really... They're not trying to undo the government. They just want to make some money. That's all. You know, they're just trying to make a little bit of money. They don't really... It's the government says you can't accept crypto. They're not going to. The risks are too great. Like, what's the upside? You know, for most people that are above ground, there's no upside to accepting crypto if it's going to land them in jail. But the main thing is, here's how they're going to really make it illegal in the U.S. India's already ramping it up, but they will make it illegal as part of an anti-terrorism bill. And they'll say that terrorists are using it to pay each other, and especially far right-wing terrorists are using it to pay each other money. You know, to hire each other, to trade their 3D printed firearm designs and stuff like that. And that's how they'll make it illegal. Crypto seems like a currency that no one asks for except for criminals. Well, we are all Jews here. Eye drops. If you don't know what that's in reference to, it's which one of you are Jews? We're all Jews here. Eventually, we're all criminals, so... the other problem with... So that's the main one, is that it's a practical thing. It's the fact that it's digital means if the lights are off, you can't use it. Well, I expect the lights to be off pretty often over the next couple years. Which means you won't be able to use your crypto at all in a emergency situation. You will be able to use silver, and you will be able to use American cash. Because people know when the lights come back on, they can still use American cash. Most people don't even really carry cash. They just, you know, use debit cards for everything. So when the lights are off, how are they buying anything? It's going to be a problem for a lot of people. So they're going to flee back to cash. They're not going to, you know, they're not going to care about crypto at that point. The other thing is cryptocurrency, especially, well, okay. Cryptocurrency has too many standards. Consumers prefer a limited number of standards over many standards. So really, cryptocurrency should just be Bitcoin and like Litecoin, and that's it. And Dogecoin maybe. There should be two standards the way that there have been two metal standards throughout history. Gold and silver, with copper just basically just being used for things that are almost worthless. Right? So fewer standards rather than more standards. That's the problem with cryptos. We don't know, like, why are there so many cryptocurrencies? There's no point in having all those cryptocurrencies because you want to use one currency, the coin of the realm. You don't want to use 100 different currencies. Let's see what Blizzard does to these guys. Thunder. So there's too many standards, which means you don't know which ones you should have. Bitcoin seems like the obvious one. The problem with Bitcoin is that it's so volatile, you don't really want to use it as currency because you're afraid that you're going to lose the value of it. It's also so valuable that you don't want to use it as currency because you'd rather use your cheap money. It's like you can pay for this in either dollars, which are worthless, or in Bitcoin, which is worth money, is valuable. You're going to choose dollars if you have them. So cheap money will always drive out dear money. This is an ancient economic phenomenon. If you have the option of paying with cheaper money, you're going to do that. So people don't use Bitcoin at all for like transactions, at least illicitly. Bitcoin was used for basically illicit transactions. When I first heard about Bitcoin, I was in Vegas, so this was a long time ago. 10 or 11 years ago. when it was still worthwhile for us to mine Bitcoin with our GPUs. It was really only used by people to like hire assassins over the Onion Network and on Silk Road, like buy drugs on Silk Road and stuff. So people didn't use Bitcoin for anything except buying drugs. Like, I'm like, well, what do I do with this? It's like, well, you sell it to these people who then use it to buy drugs on Silk Road. It's like, oh, okay. And this is legal? It's like, well, it's not illegal. At the same time, most US currency is digital nowadays. Yeah, it's true. Bitcoin was used on the dark web for years. Yeah, it was. And that's what I remember. It's like, okay, we mined some Bitcoin, and that was fun. But then it took so much longer to mine, like, 1 Bitcoin, you know? We stopped doing it. I had like dreams of like setting up a secret like GPU farm that was like plugged into my employer's electricity so that basically they'd foot the bill for the Bitcoin. But I never did that because that wouldn't really be ethical. But you know, it's so annoying to mine Bitcoin now that no one does it. You just try to get the Bitcoins that are already out there. But then as it went more mainstream, it started gaining value, not for people to like buy anything with it, but just to have it because they thought they could sell it later for more money. And what happens is like, oh my God, it went up to $10,000 and then it went down to like $1,000. And people are like, oh, I lost all my money. I was buying Bitcoin at 10K. Like it just seems like a sucker's market. Just like a lot of suckers buy into Bitcoin when it's high, thinking that it's going to hit 100K or something, and then it crashes again. And some people have said like maybe banks are making it crash because they don't want that currency to be used. I don't know. I just know it's so volatile that it's really hard to win in it unless you're just holding on to it for a really long time. And in which case, which is me, I guess, at this point. Just like, could sell it. But as soon as it becomes a viable alternative to the US dollar, you can bet it will be illegal. But I believe the excuse they'll use to make it illegal is that it's used by terrorists and stuff. There are ways to store your Bitcoin in USB type sticks. It's still, you know, unless everybody is into Bitcoin, like literally everybody, it's not going to be useful. It's like, oh my God, the lights are out. I need to buy something from a store. Do you take Bitcoin? They'd be like, I don't know how to accept Bitcoin. I know how to accept US dollars. And your neighbor's like, hey, I have Bitcoins on this USB stick. The person's like, I don't know. I don't even trust that those are real. Do you have silver? I know that silver's real. You have US dollars. I know that US dollars are real. You know, in an emergency, it's basically worthless. And that's, I don't know, that's one of the big problems with it. No one ever really thinks about when the lights are off. It's like, we've had rolling blackouts in California now for a couple of years. Every time they happen, people are panicking in the store. They're like, how do I buy anything? I don't have any cash. You know, they have to like run the ATM machines on a generator so people can get cash out so that they can like buy groceries from the grocery store where all the lights are off. It's ridiculous. It reminds me, I need to buy another portable AC. How would the crypto ban be enforced? How was the gold ban enforced? There was a ban on owning gold. Well, you can't trade it with other people. If you get caught trading it for other people, you go to federal prison. Okay. So, I guess the trick is to not get caught. But why would anybody want to accept crypto when they could accept you? Why would you accept crypto, which just accepting it will send you to jail, when you can accept US dollars that won't send you to jail? The optionality is terrible for using crypto if the government just declares that you'll go to jail if they catch you using it. Like, if they actually said this, I would just be like, okay, I'm not going to use it anymore and I'm going to try to get rid of what I got because there's no point in me going to jail, you know? Jail optionality is bad. Any currency is based on confidence or trust. One could say trust is the most valuable commodity. Yeah. That's really what, and see, this is why people that's why they flee to metals in volatility, is that metals have always been valuable. There's more than 3,000 years of history of metals being used as currency. So they're very lindy. They'll probably be thought of as valuable for another 3,000 years. or longer, 10,000 years. You know? Like, in order for crypto to be something that the government could not really realistically make unusable, it would have to be completely integrated into the economy in a way that nobody would willingly walk away from it. You know, if government said... I'm trying to think of an example. I guess we could just use guns, right? If government said guns are now illegal. Guns are so... Everybody has guns and knows how to use them. They're not getting the guns. Like, it's a ridiculous proposition to say we're going to go confiscate guns from everyone. It would be like a bloodbath of epic proportions, but also be a waste of your time. You're never even going to find them all. There's so many guns. You know, Bitcoin isn't like that. Bitcoin's been hoarded by basically like autistic weirdos for 10 years who think that it's currency but don't ever spend it. They don't ever use it for anything. So, you know, if the government just says you can't hold Bitcoin anymore, if we find out you're holding Bitcoin in your Coinbase account, you're going to jail. Well, people are going to secretly hide their Bitcoin to do what with it? The only thing you can use it for is hiring assassins on the dark web. Anything that isn't real currency to me is honestly worthless. That's how I feel about it. And that's the thing, is like, there's Bitcoin on this USB stick. It's like, I'll trade you the 64 gig USB stick for like a loaf of bread, I guess. You know, maybe I could put a couple games on my Neo Geo stick with that thing, I guess. I have the Neo Geo Arcade Stick Pro, by the way. My wife got that for me for Christmas. It's actually pretty cool. I don't know if I recommend it, but it's pretty cool. I mean, the main reason that that crypto is hot is because it's just hot. It's a self-fulfilling thing, like any kind of market force where if everybody's buying it, everybody's going to view it as valuable. So there's a lot of confidence in it just because people are wanting to buy and sell it a lot. You know, that's going to go away if the government says you can't do that. Yeah, there'll be some rebellious libertarians that are like, no, I'm never selling my crypto. Crypto or die. You're going to have to lock me up. And they will lock them up. They only have to lock up a couple people before people are like, this is... They've locked people up for minting their own silver coins. Now, you can mint silver, like, trade rounds. I think I have a couple here. Hold on. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have a couple back here. Let's get this stack of silver. Alright, what do we got? Ba-da-bum. So, like, you... Ow! Ow. 1 ounce falling on the right place hurts. Alright, so this is a... I mean, this is a US silver dollar. I don't know if you guys can see that. There it is. Okay, there's a US silver dollar, right? Walking Liberty, American Eagle dollar. It's technically a dollar, if you get down to it. You'll also find things like this floating around. Like it'll say a troy ounce. It says American Eagle on it. It's not an American Eagle. It's not a US Mint coin. It's a silver. It's a silver trade. Silver. Where it is? Silver trade. I don't know if you can read that. Silver trade unit. Okay. 1 troy ounce. Okay. So you get these. That's still silver. You still get the idea that that's that. You can mint them and call them trade units. You can call them anything but money. You can't call them money or you'll go to jail. I'm trying to remember the guy who went to jail. He went to jail for minting these things. I think I have one of the ones that he went to jail for. It's called like the Freedom Dollar or something like that. And it was his idea for an alternative currency, and he called it money. The problem was he called it money, and only Congress has the power to coin money. So they locked him up for it. Not that hard to lock people up for mining Bitcoin. Not that hard to lock people up for holding Bitcoin, for having a Coinbase account with Bitcoin in it. You know, it's trust me, it's not going to be that hard to make it practically worthless. You know, you don't really have to find all the Bitcoin and confiscate them or something. All you have to do is make it impractical for the regular person to use Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's dead. And any other currency. Bitcoin's going to be the big one. Bitcoin's going to be the one where they're like, because it's worth a lot of money. And so if they take that one down, it's going to shatter confidence in, Ethereum or Litecoin, Dogecoin, like whatever other weird cryptos. And people come up with your crypto's so hot. You have things like Minds.com. It's like, we came up with our own crypto token that you can use to buy and sell ad space on our website. I'm like, this is really dumb. Okay, I need to make US dollars because I have to pay taxes in US dollars. Okay, I have to pay property taxes in US dollars. I have to buy groceries in US dollars. I can't buy groceries with Dogecoin without first trading it for US dollars because no one accepts Dogecoin. It's not the coin of the realm. It's not money. So unless Bitcoin was totally integrated as money, it can be killed. They can kill it anytime they want to. And they just have to have a reason to do it. And I think they're going to have a reason to do it this year because the US dollar is going to get volatile, and they're going to view that as like a threat. Someone's going to tell the president. Someone's going to tell people in Congress, guys, you really have to maintain control over the money and the money supply, or people are going to start doing business trading all kinds of things that you can't tax. You can't just tax it off the top. You have to make it, you have to keep control of the currency. And then they'll do that. Then they'll start knocking it down. Oh, that's a resistant to ice. Ice shield, mithril shield. What was the other shield that we had? Diamond shield. Resistant to lightning. And I think the gold hairpin is resistant to something else. Lightning. Okay. So we should actually do... whatever. It's fine. If stores started accepting silver as a barter item that you could get 20% discount for using in the store, do you think that could work? Yeah, I mean, the problem is, you'd have to always calculate the sales tax in terms of dollars. You'd have to pay the tax in dollars, and the store would have to pay the tax. So you'd always be going to the market and changing that silver out for dollars because the government demands that you pay them in their currency. The US dollar is by fiat, by order. The US government says it's worth its currency because it says so. It has the full force of the US government behind it. That's why it's money. It's money because the government says so. And it's like that in every state. And in fact, I would say one of the core components of state power in the modern period and onward is control over the money supply. If you do not have control over your country's money supply, you do not have an effective state. And in fact, it's one of the things that is a signifier of a failed state is a fleeing of the monetary system within the borders. So once the fiat breaks down, then you're in real trouble. And you see this in sometimes South American countries, like Venezuela, where the hyperinflation gets so out of control. People are they're using anything else besides the Venezuelan currency. I don't remember what it's called, but they're using anything but that. They're using World of Warcraft gold instead of Venezuelan dollars because the currency's so debased. If you can't get people to use the currency, then you're screwed, and you have a failed state. In fact, I might say, I'm not a historian, but I would say that's like a sign of a failed state is that you have an inability to control the money supply. So they don't want that to happen in the United States. You don't want to have people widely using anything besides the dollar, because that's going to weaken the state. You want to have full control over the dollar, even if it's Weimar Republic, full. You have to bring a wheelbarrow of dollars to buy your groceries. That's what they want to be able to have. They want to have the power to create that, and they don't want people to have widespread ability to use an alternative currency. So other countries will use the US dollar instead of their own currency. I know when my dad was alive, he would travel to, say, Costa Rica or Panama or some of these Central American countries, and they just used the U.S. dollar. You know, they had, you know, Costa Rica had its own currency, but everybody bought and sold with the dollar because the dollar was a store of value, whereas their own currency wasn't. And they really only went to the bank, you know, went to the bank to change out dollars, to sell their dollars if they had to pay taxes and stuff. They just didn't use the currency of the state. And so the state was inherently weak as a result. You have to maintain control over your money. Oh, green soul. These guys are good. These guys will heal you. So they're kind of fun. Yeah, we can totally, like, watch, I can do some damage to my own guys here. And they'll heal it. Watch. Let's do what flare does. Do, like, fire. Just to, like, get our magic up, you know? See if it, like, kills our guys. Nah, it doesn't do much damage. They're like, I have so much magic resist on this party at this point that, like, they can't even do damage to themselves with magic. This will level them up. It's super silly to do this, but yeah. Yeah, crypto's a wild card. That's a great way of putting it. They especially hate when people are able to do things outside their system. If the US dollar gets weak enough, people will flee to whatever currency they can easily use, and crypto might be that. That's why it's dangerous, and that's why it's probably going to be outlawed. As soon as people are in large numbers choosing to use current crypto instead of the US dollar, it will be banned. You have to. You just have to do it, or you can't maintain control over the tax code, and therefore people, you know, you just can't do it anymore. We can try to raise our... No, she doesn't need curse. I'm actually going to make her forget curse. Let's try stop. No, we don't want to. We don't want them to stop. We try warp. Let's see if we can warp any of them out of there. Try toad. And blink. It's a chance to level up our magic. Let's see what I missed for chat. I got a bunch of this crypto coins from mines, but I'm like, can I actually use this to spin or not? You can trade them to other people who want them. Like, it's like anything. Well, do people... Is there any merchant that wants mines coins? No. Not that I could think of. So yeah, they'll just heal your guys up. Till they're out of mana. And then they start attacking. Just cure you up. Yeah, I don't know if stores, when shit hits the fan, I vote we all go to David's house and take our guns. We could watch him play video games and he could play concerts for us. You know, that sounds like fun. I want a silver Greek coin with Alexander the Great on it. An authentic drachma from antiquity. Wonder how much they go for. I don't know, but that would be really cool, Michael. I have a couple of historical silver coins. You know, I have some, like, pre-Weimar silver coins and stuff that are pretty cool. I got a Song Dynasty coin. I have some Roman pennies somewhere. I don't have a Roman denarius. I'd always wanted, like, a Republic denarius, but I think they're super expensive. There's a lot of them because they minted, like, millions of them, but they are expensive because people love to have pieces of history. Let's see. Now, let's just, let's go ahead and kill these guys. They healed us up. Kill them. Die. I think crypto will be a test of whether our malicious overlords are sufficiently incompetent or not. And they could be completely incompetent boomers and let people continue to have Bitcoin. But, like, I don't think I would. I don't think there's anything else down here. try, see if we can find a different stairway. You know, if I were them, I'd be trying to ban crypto and jail as many people for it as possible. It's a really easy way to identify your enemies. I mean, it's right. The right-wingers are the ones using the crypto because they're the ones who don't trust government currency. Would you consider playing other classic RPGs like Xenogears? Yeah. I love Xenogears. I have it. I think I have it on here. No, I have Xenosaga. I have Xenosaga on Vita. Or maybe it's a PSP. Venezuelan money's so useless they sell paper mache souvenirs out of it. Yeah. You make wrapping paper out of it. It's money. And the thing about inflation with the U.S. is like hyperinflation can really take off in the U.S. Not with the cash, but they can just through the banking system, they can just pump ridiculous amounts of money into the economy, like instantaneously. Xenogears is one of the deepest games ever. I think it's good. I'm thinking of Chrono Trigger. Yeah, Chrono Trigger is really good too. For some reason, I think Xenogears and I think Chrono Trigger. I think they're all part of the same thing, like Xenoblade, Xenogears. I think they're all from the same company. I think, or the same developers, which is kind of cool. Yeah, there's nothing in here. I'm retreading my steps. Let's get all these stalagmites. Yeah, I think they're all from the same devs. Xenoblade Chronicles X is one that I think would be cool to play. It's still, as far as I know, a Wii U exclusive. They haven't put it out on the Nintendo Switch or anything else. The original Fallout or Fallout 2. I loved the original Fallout when it came out back in the day. I played the crap out of that game. I don't think it holds up. It holds up okay. Obviously, graphically, it's not, it's not that good. But the gameplay is still pretty good. It's just a little slow. Xenogears was supposed to be Final Fantasy VII, but the team got moved. Chrono Trigger was from the makers of both Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. That's right. Okay, you're right. Geekdom's right. I knew it was something like that. Like, people got pulled off of the original Final Fantasy VII team to make these different games. It ended up being a good thing because Final Fantasy VII ended up being super beloved, so it's no big deal. But you got there was so many good games that came out in the mid-90s. It's like staggering to think about. Man, the encounter rate is just ridiculous in this game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, aka Waifu Blade Chronicles. Not bad. They're good games. I like the gameplay of them. They have an interesting kind of action RPG, but you're having to time your attacks. Xenogears and Chrono Trigger share the same composers. Where I do think they have great soundtracks. My favorite recent soundtrack was actually, I think, Octopath Traveler. I just wish the game had been better. It had such a perfect aesthetic, great music, but they took the wrong approach with the story. And the gameplay was great too. It was great. This is one of those things where I'm like, if the gameplay is good. And it's like, well, the gameplay was good. Everything was good, but the way they executed the story was bad. And so then it just made it feel like a slog because you didn't really have this thing pulling you forward to the next location. It's like, okay, got the hunt, you start with, I think I started with the thief. I'm like, okay, I'm not high enough level to go on to the next part, so I gotta go get more people for my party. Then you do another origin story. And you're still not, so you just walk around the map in a circle getting 8 people on your team. Then maybe you're high enough level to do one of the stories, but you know, you can't, the way they should have done it is like you should have just been able to go through and do one at a time. Because like you finally get around to like, okay, now we can go and do the next chapter of the thief story. Okay, now let me do the next chapter of this, next chapter of that. And like before you know it, you're like dozens of hours into the game and there's no story that's gone anywhere. And if you don't care about in one of the particular stories, it's not easily skippable because you need the experience levels to go forward. You know, they really should have just changed the design around and made it so that, I don't know, the leveling curve should have been changed so that you, if you were playing as one character, it should have just kind of pushed you through like that one story. So you play 8 different games in theory, rather than what it is it's like you're playing one story and then another, and then picking up another one and another, you know, a knife. I went all the way down there to get a knife. That's lovely. If you ever play an FPS on your channel, would you consider playing Vox Day's 1997 produced game, Rebel Moon Rising? I've never played that. Usually a bad or mess story wouldn't be so bad, but considering that's kind of one of the main draws of a JRPG, that's a bit of a problem. Yeah, I'm with you there, I think. That was the problem. And it's weird because, like, I make this point, like, great gameplay. People will forgive weak story if the gameplay's really good. But this was an example where I'm like, the JRPG gameplay was good. Everything about it was good. But it wasn't even that the stories were bad. It's that, like, you couldn't even just go through a story. You did one story, then another story, and you did, like... imagine you had 8 books, and you have to read chapter 1 of each book, and then chapter 2 of each book, and then chapter 3 of each book. That's not fun. You want to just read a book. Oh, I'm back here. All right. Oh my god, this encounter rate is just insane. I'm never going to get through this dungeon. It's like spam attack here, because, man. Jedi Academy. I like Jedi Academy, yeah. The Jedi Knight I played, like, in land. Like, okay, so... there were these places that existed for this brief period of time in the 90s. They were basically like LAN gaming cafes. I don't know how any other way to put it. But basically they had a bunch of PCs set up in a LAN and you could go and play like Doom with your friends. Rather than having to haul your PCs over to somebody's house and try to set up a LAN there. You could do it at these, you know, these like little weird gaming stores. And so I'd go to them and they had Jedi Knight and me and my friends would play the shit out of that game. We loved it. It was so good. It was such... Final Fantasy 3 is gonna piss you off, bro. I've played it. I think I'm gonna play... I think I'm playing like the 3D room. Ah, God, this... Alright. There's gotta be a quicker way through this. There's gotta be like magic. What civs did you use? Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah. Xenoblade X, and I remember not really liking as much, aside from the combat, due to the story and some mechanics. Yeah, they even admitted, they're like, man, we should have done better with the story, but it was good gameplay. We're like, was good gameplay. There we go. Final Fantasy 3, I think I remember it having some, like, ridiculous difficulty curve towards the end of the game. Where, like, it was... You know, and each time that you unlock a job, that job starts at, like, level... You don't get any of the levels from your other job. So, like, it'd be like going to White Wizard and then, like, you're at level 1 again. Which sucks. Square didn't really get Final Fantasy right until 4. I liked the first one. I think every game gets something right. Final Fantasy 4 was where they hit their stride, I think. And where they were, like, really making... They really had the gameplay nailed down to what we actually like, I think. I think you're right there. You know. I've seen a lot of pushback on Final Fantasy IV the last year, though, where people are like, no, it's not that good because, you know, all your classes are set and all the characters are set and, like, Cecil just does one thing, whereas, like, Final Fantasy 1, you could have a party of whatever, and Final Fantasy 3, you could have all these ridiculous jobs. It's like, yeah, but... the game, especially the difficulty of the Japanese version, was built around those things. It wasn't a problem that that like Cecil was a paladin, or that he was a Dark Knight and then a paladin. It wasn't a problem that you had, you know, this character or that character leaving. The game was built around that. Yeah, I mentioned it. Once you get to the final castle in either NES or DS versions, it gets jacked up to where every fight is like a boss fight. 4 is that good. 4 is the one, definitely the one I have the most nostalgia for. I think 6 is my favorite. I think it's 6. I think I'm going to go with 6. 6 is good, and I'm really looking forward to playing 6 again. But 4 I have a huge nostalgia for, because 4 was the first, I think it was the first Final Fantasy game I beat. I bought the NES one like after the fact, and so I had already had experience with that. So I think it was the first Final Fantasy game I beat, was that SNES one. And I could see why I beat it. It was the American version was actually easy mode. And it was sold in Japan as like Final Fantasy IV Easy. It's the American version. I'm glad I'm among the cultured gentlemen who can admit that 7 is overrated. And here's the thing, I could say 7 is overrated, and I can also say it's a really good game. I played it right after my daughter was born. And I don't know if I've probably told this story before, but like she had this infant reflux, so that if you laid her down to sleep, she had terrible heartburn and would wake up. So you could only hold her, like she could only sleep like with you holding her more or less upright. So I had this easy chair, this like recliner in the living room, and you know, I just got bored holding this baby. I couldn't sleep with this baby. But the Nintendo Switch controllers, you could do those two, you know, you could do the Joy-Cons. So I could hold the baby and actually play a game, and my wife could too. What did I get her? I think Yoshi's Crafted World. She played that. Yeah, I haven't decided which version of 4 to play. Because, like, if you want to go the classic version, that'd be the SNES American version, but that's kind of easy mode. But it's still good. It's just, it's a little bit easier. You could do the Japanese version, or one of the later versions of 4 that has, like, a revised script. That's good, too. Or you could do the one that they redid for the DS, which I actually am very fond of. But I don't think the graphics have aged well. So it has like fully voiceovered cutscenes and stuff, but the 3D graphics are really blocky. They're really rough. So you got that too. I don't know where I'm going here. Good Lord, this counter rate. Dual servers and movie battles. Actual wizards when it comes to saber combat. I haven't played this. So yeah, I haven't decided which version of 4. Final Fantasy IV Advanced and PSP, they added the Zemus and East-type as a bonus boss, but he ain't easy. Yeah, I kind of like bonus bosses. That's something that kind of started making their way in. You know, the quote... I don't know what I just got. That was... Did I get something there? I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh. Did you ever play Final Fantasy Dissidia? No, I haven't. Though. That's the stairway we were looking for. Ah. See, each time there's an encounter, you like go back to the map, you're like, what was I doing? Flare. Let's hit these guys with Blizzard. Magic. Blizzard. Boom! The bonus boss in this one you're playing now is dope. I haven't played it. I know there's these bonus dungeons up by the Snowy Town. I did one level of them and got like killed. So I'm like, I probably need to come back when I'm a little better, you know, equipped. But like, there's a guy there that will predict whether you're gonna get your butt kicked in there for each character. He's like, each character, like Minwoo, you're gonna do great. It's like everybody else doesn't look good. No look good. Adamantoise, unfortunately, is like really hard to kill without magic. He said as he died. The Adamantoise is like impossible to kill in Final Fantasy 13 until you get to in-game or like post-game. It's like gigantic and impossible to kill unless you have like fully maxed Ultima weapons and stuff. I take it everyone who played Jedi Academy was mostly on Capture the Flag. I don't really remember. Been so long now. The city was pretty cool, but I'm not really much of a fighting game fan. Even as different as it was to most other games in the genre. What's the one I never played? Type 0? Never played Type 0. I think that was an ARPG. Never played it. So I don't know if it was ever good or not. Wow, no encounter in that room. That's rare. Alright. Thunder. Flare. Level up our flare. Level up our blizzard. Up our thunder. The movie Battles 2 mod. I remember trying to play multiplayer in base Jedi Academy and it was empty. See, back in the day, the internet was not good enough for you to play on the internet. You could only play NetMech on a LAN because the internet was so laggy and you had 28K dial-up. You know, I played EverQuest on a 56K modem, which was like, that was so fast. You never got 56K baud, but yeah, that's how we played it back in the day, and you know, only way to play Doom was on a LAN. Oh my gosh. Keep hitting these guys with some flare. Hardly anyone's on it on Steam. Oh yeah. This is the problem with online games, though. It's like when the servers go down, you can't play the game anymore. Zero. Alright, we got rid of that one. Yeah, they can't, like, hit us. Like, my character's evasion is so high, like, nothing can hit them. See? Just, like, miss. If you level your characters right, like, you don't even really need HP. Because, like, nothing can hit you. These kids don't remember. Don't. They were not around. I remember it, though. Like, the internet was like, so bad. Betrayal thing. I like the sound of that. Is it a knife? I bet it's a knife. Nope. I guess not. I guess it's just an item. There it is. A fang with the same effects as Confuse. Oh, well, that's weak. I thought it was like a cool weapon. Yeah, Doom was fun. Marathon, I remember being really fun, but not that many people played it because the first one was like Mac only. So you played it. It was like what people played in the office. And, but I played it. We used to play like LAN games of Warcraft 2. Quake. We used to bring our PCs over to our, everyone would grab their PC, which grabbing your PC meant you grabbed a tower and you grabbed a big CRT monitor because no one had an LCD monitor back then. I remember I got like one of the first LCD monitors that you could really get was an Apple LCD monitor, which I still have somewhere. And it was like $1,000 for that monitor. $1,000 for the monitor. Now it still works, which is pretty cool, but holy crap. $1,000 for the monitor. I love your streams and videos. Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate it. My dad works tech support, so we always had real internet when I was a kid. Now, my dad actually had early internet. So early that people wouldn't even know it's not even internet. A Ralcium. I think I can have that turned into like a weapon or something. Rios. I like the sound of that guy. He's green. He's the green colored sprite. Let's see what Flare does this guy. I keep waiting for Flare to do something good, and it doesn't. So my dad had an analog modem. This was a thing. Now, the way analog modems worked, this is so weird. You could find them on YouTube. I'll maybe find a video of an analog modem on YouTube. So you took a Bell handset. This was back when everybody had that Bell handset. Before they broke Bell up. And even afterwards, it still was basically made to work with a Bell handset because that's what had been standard in the 60s and 70s when they were coming up with these things. Yeah, it goes with that back. It is like an 800 baud. So 1440, this was like 1/14 the speed of a crappy modem from the early 90s. You would put the phone on the modem. You'd put it on there, and there were two little speaker cups, and they would go and make all kinds of noise into the phone, and somehow that sound would go through the phone lines to you dial up another computer, and the computer would pick it up on another analog modem, and then you could like access things on that server. You like upload a document or like, you know, all kinds of weird things that at the time seemed really crazy. Like computers just do computer stuff. So yeah, it was this thing. It was like beep and boop, and you put this handset on it, and then your microcomputer would dial in. This is like in the 80s, and this stuff was already going out in the 80s, but it was a thing that, like, you know, you had to use for certain things. And then you got like 5K baud modems, which actually just like plugged into the telephone slot. Because you had to use the analog modem for like baud connections, because things didn't have touchtone. Touchtone wasn't universal back then. It wasn't until touchtone became universal that you had regular non-pulse phone lines. I used to watch a show called Computer Chronicles. Turns out it's on YouTube, and I had so much nostalgia just seeing how tech evolved from the 80s to the aughts. It's pretty rapid and awesome. Yeah. I remember virtual reality glasses from the 90s, and I really wanted some. I found out there were some you could get for like $150. And I'd like to see if I could find those again and, like, I don't know, do an LGR style thing on them. Because I think some of the tech from the 90s was just so cool and so like ahead of its time, but obviously, you know, missing so much from what we would consider usable VR. But you had these glasses that you'd put on your heads. Now, the expensive ones were like $800, and they had this two screens that flip down onto your eyes, and you had like a controller for it. Virtual reality was like going to be the wave of the future in the 90s. And I wanted those VR glasses so bad, but they, you know, and then years later, like I could just, you know, you could do VR with your phone, and that's kind of going away now because I don't know why, but you can do VR with your phone still. There's VR programs. I just have to know what's in this one. Nothing. Nothing but monsters. Yeah, they had all kinds of, like, if you ever watch like, LGR Oddware episodes, I love that stuff. I remember all kinds of wacky stuff like that from the 90s. Tech companies would just, like, put out hardware that didn't even work, but just, they'd sell you on the idea, like, these are virtual reality glasses. And you'd be like, I gotta have these. How much are they? Well, they're $150. White mask obtained from the chest. wonder if there's anything back here. I recently found out that there's a section of the population that has gone back to using CRT monitors for gaming. Yes. So the reason is to play vintage games. They don't look correct on a modern display at all. A CRT doesn't really display pixels the way that an LCD does. So if you want games to look correct, if you want your Nintendo to look correct, you need to play it on a CRT. Let's stay and recharge our mana. 500,000 gil. I don't know what to do with it. 90s tech was far enough along to imagine sci-fi becoming reality, but not far enough along to realize that we're still ways from some of the really cool stuff. Oh, CRTs are needed for light gun games because of the timing. There's a slight amount of lag with an LCD that will make a light gun game unusable. Unusable. That's wild, right? But yeah, you can't use light gun games on LCDs because the timing is too slow. Whereas the CRT has the correct timing. The way that it draws pixels with a natural softness to the pixels makes them look better. Like I'm duplicating that with these scan lines to make it look correct, but it doesn't look as good as it would look on a CRT. Trust me. CRTs look way better, and I think they look way better for like SNES especially, but also like PlayStation 2 games look way better on a CRT. Plug your PlayStation 2 or even play a PS2 game on your PS3 if you have like a fat model, which I do. It just doesn't look, you're like, man, it doesn't look like it used to, or your GameCube. And it doesn't because you need a CRT. Take the white mask with you to Mysidia. The mages there should know more about its purpose. Where's Mysidia? To go find Mysidia now. Refresh rate of CRTs is completely different. Yeah. And it's not like a frame thing where it's like putting up frames instantaneously. It draws a series of lines. So it works completely differently. And maybe not, some people watching this aren't old enough to remember CRTs, but you go up and look close at them and they'd have little rainbows. They didn't have pixels, but these little rainbows. And we're like, how do those little rainbows work? But that's them firing different concentrations of color to produce the colors that you see. That's what makes games look correct if they're pre-HD. So anything before the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era looks better on a CRT, including PlayStation 2 games. They look a lot better on a CRT. So that's why people are going back to CRTs. I got a flat screen CRT a long time ago and it was almost 80 pounds. Yeah, I need to go back. I have my, I think my Super Scope doesn't even work on an LCD. I'll have to try it out. I haven't really tried it out on any kind of newer TVs. But I have to go back to a CRT for the Super Scope. UK companies still make CRTs for hardcore gamers with the correct ports for the best quality. Yeah, you have to get like SCART ports and stuff. Let me get this guy down here. All right, let's get some loot. Some loot of yore. Some loot of yore here. Here we are. Okay. There it is. The original box. I think the little receiver's in a different box though, so. But you have a little receiver that you put on top of your TV and that would receive signals shot by this thing. It's pretty cool. And this was also just a fun toy to play with. Oh, wait, I put the... Now, little story behind this. My mom found it in a closet. I was living with my mom for a while. Because I was moving from one area to another. Moving from Fresno to Vegas and stuff. And actually, I don't remember which... Oh, everything's in here. Everything's in here. Beautiful. So this is what it looked like. Like unboxing from the past, guys. Yeah, my mom gave it to a Goodwill, and I went to the Goodwill and just like talked them into giving it back to me, and they did. They didn't know what it was. They had no idea what it was used for. Okay, there it is in the box. My dad bought this for me, and it was $66 or something, maybe with tax. So here's a Super Scope 6 game. I think I have all the Super Scope games. So there's Super Scope 6. There's a Yoshi's Adventure that's really fun. Actually, it's a really good game. There's Battle Clash, which I think is the best Super Scope game. And then there's a follow-up, which is actually called Metal Combat Falcon's Revenge, which is actually, I think, Battle Clash 2. And there might be one more that I have that I just don't even remember right now. But anyway, this one has 6 minigames. They're all really fun minigames. A lot of them involve timing and stuff and aiming. So Super Scope 6. It's called something else in Europe. I don't remember what it is. But there, it's called something else. So take that out. Here's the mighty gun, and it ran on. Oh, I left batteries in here. That's not good. Luckily, we don't really have the batteries breaking down. But I shouldn't have left batteries in here from the last time I played with it. So we're gonna take those batteries out. It's very bad. Should not leave batteries in your old thing. I left batteries in one of my Wavebird controllers, and like, that was not good. I definitely played with this recently because these didn't expire until like not that long ago. I'll just get rid of those. So yeah, don't leave the batteries in your old stuff if you can help it. Not a good idea. So anyway, it ran on 6 AA batteries, which went in the back here, and put this on. A lot of people don't have the original box. I kept the box because that was a way to store it, and I put it under my bed. So you could do it like left eye if you were left eye dominant, or right eye dominant. So you could do it on either side, which is really cool. There was even there was a puzzle game that was kind of like Tetris, like, but you were blasting your way through it, and you could even adjust the eyepiece to like kind of get it to the right size. All it was, there's no optics or anything. It's just a little targeting reticle in the middle of it. Aim it right at the camera there, boom, 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 and you would, you had a button to click here on the handle, and then you had 2 buttons here that you could click. And that was what you did. And so there was a, you could charge up and fire. You could like do like rapid fire with certain games. It was really, this thing was so fun to play with. And it like looks so little on me, like adult male. It's like a tiny little ridiculous toy. But this was the coolest toy in the 90s, guys. This was so cool. And as soon as it came out, like, that's the first thing Genesis did is like, we're going to make one, but even cooler. And they made it like a rifle one that was different. But this one was definitely where it was at. This one was so cool. And here's the little receiver that goes with it, too. The receiver yellows because of something in the plastic. You put this on top of your TV, and then, like, you could aim this at it, and then it would all work. And it's kind of funny. I could feel, like, different loose, the plastic has gotten kind of loose over the years, just as it has aged, So it's not quite as tight feeling as it used to be. But boy, that was definitely a cool toy. So I thought I'd show that to you in the original box. That's the Super Scope 6, And I think I tried to convince my dad to buy it. I'm like, it's got 6 games in it. Because it has 6 games, it's a deal that's only like $10 per game, and it comes with a cool toy gun. How cool is that? That squeaking, the squeaking with the styrofoam. That's what's cool about it. So, anyway, definitely remember to take your batteries out, because I had one of the batteries get like a little bit of that alkaline stuff on it. You don't want to deal with that. So, I did have like one of my Wavebirds get ruined because I left batteries in it for who knows how long, and just forgot about it. It's my fault, I suppose. It was cool. I wish all of the, all accessories for those 90s things, I wish had more games. That's like the universal, is that there weren't enough Sega CD games. There weren't enough games for any of that stuff. So I think a lot of the companies learn from that, and that what you do is instead of having a bunch of accessories you try to sell stuff for. I guess Sony didn't learn that because they had the PlayStation Move and all that, PSVR and all that kind of stuff, which is cool stuff, but again, not enough games. You know, you have to really focus on your core thing there. All right, okay, we're good. I'm gonna save the game and call it here because I'm pretty tired. I think it was $60. I think it was $59.99. It might have been $66 because it was Super Scope 6. But, like, I don't remember exactly what it was. But it was pretty cool. I got it right when it came out. My dad bought it for me. For no reason besides he loved me. That's pretty cool. Like, it wasn't for a birthday or anything like that. It wasn't for some special occasion. I was like, Dad, I really want this. He's like, let's go get it. And he just, like, went and got it for me. Like, how freaking cool was that? You know? My dad would do stuff like that. He'd be like at the gun show. He'd be like, you know, that looks... He'd trade stuff for jewelry just because he thought my mom would like the jewelry. Or, like, he'd be like, here, I got these grips for your pistol. Because I thought these would be cool. He would just buy you things and give you things because he thought you might like them. You know, that's who he was. It was such a cool thing. So yeah, the Xbox Kinect. The Kinect was such a hit that they decided to force people to use it, and then that almost made them completely lose and quit doing video games. The Xbox One, oh man, Super Scope will not work on an LCD. Geekdom, you're really disappointing me. It's okay. I'm gonna set up a CRT, I think, in like my garage or something, just to play retro games on. Yeah, I haven't played it since I had a CRT in like Las Vegas. I wear glasses now, so I can't even use it. Can you not? I don't know where my glasses are. I think you can still use it with glasses. I think you can still use it with glasses. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it here, guys. I do appreciate hanging out with me. Looking at the Super Scope with me. I've definitely streamed for too long. I didn't mean to stream this long. I meant to do it for like 30 minutes. But, oh well. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun too. I just wanted to clear that dungeon and have a little bit of fun. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great night.